Any doubts? Anyone? Can I go further? Hello? Hello? Yeah, fine. Okay, fine. So we are going to further now. So we'll start now with our second exercise. So what you have seen in your first exercise, you loaded master data manually, right? You have loaded data manually into BI. But now what happens, sir? Usually, do we load data manually? We never load data manually into BI. Data has to come from any other source. So today what we are going to see now, how to load data into BI from a platform. Actually we discussed all 5 steps and all. So those 5 steps we are going to implement it on the system. So what is your exercise now? Loading of master data of type. Master data is represented in 3 ways, I said, right? So in this, which one I am taking? Attributes into BI from a flat file. So what you are doing is you are loading now master data into BI from a flat file. Okay. So first thing to be remembered. So BI supports 2 types of file formats. BI supports what? 2 types of. That means your file should be either of these 2 formats. Then only we can okay, use this. Okay, 2 types of file formats it will support. One is called .csv. Okay, .csv means comma separated value. Values are separated with what? Commas. The values are separated with the commas. That is comma separated value. And second one is called ASCII file. Okay? ASCII file. So, some confidential data will be stored in the form of a ASCII file. If you open this ASCII file, you will not understand what is the data in that file. It will be encoded and stored. While loading, it will be decoding this and it will be loading the actual data. So that means your file should be either of these 2 formats. Then only you can start using that. Okay. Now, one thing to be remembered, real time you never create a file. File will be given to you from the client people. So usually, what the file you will get will be in 2 parts. One is called as a header file, other one is called as a data file. In header file, you will understand what are the objects, like what is the file format, how many fields are there, what is the field number, positions, all those things, right? And what is its data type, what is its length, all this there will be there in the header file, and in the data file you will be having the data. Okay, in the data file you will have data. Okay, right, fine. So now I am going to create one file. Here I am itself is the client, I am itself is the developer or whatever it is. So that's why I am creating a file. Real time you never create a file. File will be given to you by the client people. Okay. So now let us say I am creating one file. Okay, imagine number, name, address, and so I am taking 4 objects. It may be hundreds of objects. Everything is same only. Okay. Yeah, Vinay. You know. So I have some data like this. This data now I want to load it into okay. some data I have. Hello. Please go on mute. Now, this data I want to load it into BI. So what I'm doing, let us say I'm saving this file. How I'm saying, so I'm not as an XLS, I'm saving it as a CSV file. So I'm saving this file and I'm calling this as, let us say, master data file. Now data from this file, I want to load it into BI system. This is my file. So try to open with a notepad. How is the data now? Clear? So now data from this particular file I want to load it into BI system, that is comma separated values. Okay? Right. Now where should I start now? We said always loading is now 5 steps. Whenever you want to extract the data you have to follow 5 steps. But before to that, what as I said, I have to create a connection between BI system and the source system. That's what we call it as a source system connection. So this creation of source system connection is the basis task. Administrator will be creating this connection. You need not worry about that. Okay? But here I am showing you how to create this source system connection. See first what I am starting, before starting 5 steps. And moreover, this interface is created only once. If once it is created, whenever you want to extract, now let us say I am creating an interface between BI and file. Whenever you want to extract data from a file, I will make use of the same interface. If you are extracting from BI and R3, I have a connection between BI and R3. What is that now? We will make use of the same interface whenever you want to extract the data from R3. So creation of, what is that? Source system, creation of what? Source system connection. So how do you create? See now, I am showing you the path starting from the beginning. Once I log on, what is that you use? The transaction code, the application which you are working is RS7. Okay. Then you have to go to modeling tab. Then what is that now? Then go to source systems level. Then in the right frame, okay, RS7, this is your modeling tab. Then this is your source systems level. Now what type of interface you want to create? Whether you want to connect to BI systems or BI and SAP. That is, it may be R3, it may be any other SAP system, or an external systems, files, databases, universal data connectors and the web services. Right now, I want to connect it to file. So right time what you have to select now? File. Right? Right click. That is context menu. What is the option you get is create. Click on create. So now in the right frame, select file. Then what? Click on create. So it's asking to give some logical system name and the description. Give any name that you want. It will allow. Okay, now I am saying, right, yes underscore. Okay, so this is a file interface to BI. So creating a flat file interface is very easy because the source is not any system or something. But if you want to connect to R3 system, suppose BI and R3. So when you want to create connection between BI and R3, what you have to do? You have to specify the parameters of BI system in the R3 system and the parameters of R3 system in the BI system. That will be known only by the basis consultants. Okay? Right. So now give some name and description and you have to click on Continue. So once I click continue, just observe the status bar. What it will say when I'm creating source system connection? What will say? System generates IDOCs. So just observe the status bar. I'll click continue. You observe the status bar. What it is going to say? Just check. Generating IDOC basis touch. So internally it is generating something called IDOCs, which are like your data containers to carry the data from one system to another system. How is data is coming from source to BSID is through IDOC session. So that is what is now it is generating. So from here on, whenever you want to extract the data from a file, you will make use of an interface called what? S_FFF. Whenever you want to extract the data from a file, you will make use of an interface called what? S_FFF. Clear the logic? Any doubts there now? What is source system connection is clear? Right? Fine? Sorry? No, I am creating right now one interface between BI and file. I want to extract the data from a file. First, what I said, you have to create a connection between BI system and the source system. That is called as a source system connection. That is what I have created. Okay? So what is the connection name you have created is S_. So from here on, whenever you want to extract the data from a file, you will make use of a source system connection called S_FFF. Okay? Right. Clear now? Now we'll move on to our actual steps. What is your step 1 now? Whenever we start extracting the data to BI, as I said, you always have to follow. So see, it doesn't have any standard naming convention, it may be any name. But step 1 is, you will say, what is that? Define the target. So 5 steps I said, define the target, define the data source, create a transformation, info package and DTP. Out of this first step is, now according to the file, what I have to do, I need to do the modeling. According to file, what has to be done? We need to perform modeling and you have to develop your target into BI database. For this, what you have to do now? You have to create now 4 info objects, character type, and after this, what is that now? Attributes. Now you have to specify these 3 are depending on what you did in your first exercise. In my first exercise, what I did? Same thing. I loaded master data only, but how I loaded is manually. As I said on the day, the modeling code remains same, whether you are extracting from file or from R3 or whatever it is. Do I have my target already ready now? What I did in my first exercise, what I did? I have created one info object. What is it on the day I have created? Customer number, YC_CNO. Character type of info object I have created. Then for this info object, what we did? We specified 3 info objects as attributes. We specified the 3 info objects as entirely depending on name, address and. So once I do, what was happening here? 3 table was generated, right? Once I created info object, what was happening? By default, system was generating 3 tables. One is P is called attribute table, T is called text table, S is called SID table. Now, is your target is ready now? See the P table? See, customer number is my primary key, name, address and. So same as your file, I have a model ready in the BI database. For this, we can start loading the data now. So now, for defining the target, what you can do, you can perform your exercise 1 and I am saying, let us say until step 4. So what is your exercise 1 step 4? Yeah, if you want, you can create also now. So now, what is your exercise 1? First step, what you did? I have created one folder called as a info area, which is used to segregate your project. Next, what you did? You created some catalogs. One folder for characters, one folder for key figures. So these are the catalogs what I have created. Now third step was I have created my info objects. Then fourth step is I specify name, address and phone number are attribute towards customer number. Once I do that, my model was ready in the database. Now for the particular same object, we are trying to load the data from where? From the flat file. Earlier just manually. Okay, now that's what I am doing. Perform exercise 1 until step 4. That's nothing but your target will be ready. So what is your target here now? The target here is YC underscore CN. Wow. So that means data from the file, where should I load now? So you want to load manually, what you also did? You selected this object, right click. That means this was your target. Same way now when data is coming from the file, where should it be loaded? Into this particular info object. Is your target is ready now? Right. So what is your target now? I am saying info object. But when you say info object, front end we are saying info object. Internally in database it is referring to? It is referring to what? It is referring to two targets, right? One is attribute table and other one is text table. SID is automatically generated by system itself. So SID is not my target. Once I load data into master table, SID is getting automatically generated. So SID is not our target. Our target is now either it may be an attribute table or it may be a. So I need to segregate now whether you are loading into attribute table or you are saying info object, but database it is referring to two tables. What are the two tables it is referring? One is P table, master data of type attributes, and T table, what is master data of type text. When you say info object, now you have to clearly mention whether you are going to load attribute table or text table. Now I need to segregate between the targets now. So once your target is ready, what you are doing now? You have to segregate between the targets. Means what? Whether it is an attribute or what? Text. Okay, once you perform this exercise 1 up to step 4, then next what you have to perform? You have to segregate between your targets. For this what you have to do is, you have to insert this character as info provider. Insert the character as what? So when I insert this character as info provider, what is that what it is going to do is, it is going to basically segregate your target into two things, so that it is attributes or text. And you will understand one more part also in the, what is the use of that inserting as the info provider, that you understand in the next class also. Now, how do you insert this character as info provider is, see the part now, same thing, RS7, modeling tab, then you have to go to which level? Info provider level. Then in the right frame, what has to be done? Select your info area, right frame, select. So now, how is that see? RS7, modeling tab, which level I am saying? Info provider level. Now right frame, select your. So this is the info area what I have created. So now, see, you can create either info area from here also, anything is same. Select your info area. Whatever you create at info object level, it will be reflected in info provider level also. Whatever you create in info provider will be reflected in info object level. So select your info area, context menu, that is right click, We don't call it as right click. Technically, you have to call it as context menu. What you have to select now? Select insert character as what? Info provider. So now what I am doing? Modeling tab, info provider level, right frame. You can select your info area. Right click on that. What is the option now? Insert characteristic as info provider. So now it is asking to give the name of the info object. What is your info object name now? You have to give your primary key info object name. That is your target name was customer number, right? So give that name. YC underscore continue. So what is that now? Give the name of continue. Now once I click continue, observe what is happening. Can I see customer number at info provider level? Yes. So expand it. Once I expand it, what you can see one is attributes and text. Now which is your target now? Attributes. So now this is my, what is your target name? Attributes YC underscore. So now from file, where should I load my data now? Into attributes YC underscore CNO. So now continue, right? So once it is done, now target is ready. What is the target now? Attributes ಇವತ್ತು ಪರವಾಗಿಲ್ಲ ಸಾಯಂಕಾಲ ಬರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಬರೋದು ಹೇಗೆ ಪರವಾಗಿಲ್ಲ ನನಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬಿಡಿ ಇವತ್ತು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಪರವಾಗಿಲ್ಲ ನಾಳೆ ನೋಡೋಣ ಇವತ್ತು ಅದೇ ಓಲ್ಡ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಇದೆ ಅಲ್ಲ ಅಷ್ಟು ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಇವತ್ತು ನಾಳೆ ಮಾಡೋಣ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅದು ಓಲ್ಡ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಆ ಓಲ್ಡ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಬೇಕು ಬಿಡಿ ಇವತ್ತು ಅದು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡೋಣ ನಾಳೆ ಮಾಡೋಣ ನಮಗೆ ಇವತ್ತು 10 ಇಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲ So now my target is ready now. Okay, attributes YC underscore. So from file, where should I load my data now? That's nothing but you are loading. If I'm front-end we say this, but internally at database it refers to P table. So target is ready. Step 1 is clear. Any doubts with step 1? Yes. Any doubts? Online. Fine. How about face-to-face people? Clear? Right. Next. So now next what is that now? Your step 2. Step 2 is what now? You have to define the, what to be defined? What is defining the data source means? What data has to be extracted from the source system, right? So defining the data source is nothing but what? What data you need to extract it from the source system is nothing but you are defining the data source, right? Yes. That is for developing your target. Sorry? Yeah. Yes. Okay. Okay. Yes. Step 1 is modeling. After step 1, yeah, I did insert character as info provider. So once I do that, what happens? It's asking to give the info object name. Yes, which is the primary key name. Just give it. Once I give it, it is going to segregate between your targets. Whether you want to load it to attributes or text. Now is your target is ready or not? That is what is step 1. Now, step 2 is what now? Define the. So now what is data source now? What data has to be extracted from the source system? So data source defines what? What data has to be extracted from the data source. Yes. Yeah, tell me. Okay. No. Only for the primary key, right? I am loading data to what? Am I loading any data to name? We are loading number. So now, when I say number, attributes will automatically follow it or not? See, when you look at number table, what is happening? You have attributes or not? So that's what. So just we are loading is into customer number info object. Name is just only a field of that particular table, that's it. Okay, only primary key you have to give. Right. So define the data source. What is data source now? How or what data has to be extracted from the source system? As it is a flat file extraction what we are discussing. Now data source has to be defined in BS system itself, right? Now before going to create the data source, what I am going to do, we will create some other thing. So let us say I am saying this is step 2A. So we will say creation of what? Creation of application component. So what is this application component is? Application component is a folder. Application component is a folder which is used to segregate the data sources. Which is used for what? Segregating the, just like your info area. Earlier I created an info area which is used to segregate your project. Same way when I am creating now data sources, you have data sources related to sales, production, purchase, finance. Lots and lots of data sources are there. Now I want to differentiate, segregate with them. So I will create some folders. Let us say one folder for sales, one for production, one for purchase. Whenever you want to create sales related application, sales related data sources, we use sales application component. When you want to create production related folder data sources, then you will create folder for production. That folder is called as what here? Application component. So now how do we create this one? See, same thing. RSA1. What is that now? You have to go to data source level. Then in the right frame, first what has to be done? You have to choose your source system. So now how is it? RS7 modeling tab, data source level. Now what is that now? Right now you can see it is saying data sources for FF underscore. But what was my connection I have created is S underscore. First you have to specify from which interface you are going to extract the data. For that, what you have to do here, you can see now what is there. Choose source system. So select your source system. Right now what is our interface system? File. Which is that one? S underscore. That's So what is the interface that I have created? So that interface you need to select it. Now what is that? You can see data sources for file interface to BI. First you have to select the source system connection which I have created now at the time of starting the exercise. That interface I am selecting. So then after choosing your source system, then so what you can do, you can select data sources at the top. What is it here? Select data sources at the top. Right click, context menu. What is the application? What is the option you are getting? Create application component. So now what you can do, select data sources at the top, context menu, create a application component. What you can do, just give some name and description. So why I am saying application component, sorry. Give some name and description and you have to click on continue. So once I click continue, can you see now what is that? A folder has been created called application component for sales. From here on, whenever you want to create any data source related to sales, and if you are extracting from a file, what is that folder I am going to use? Is application component for sales. Here is just only a folder to segregate. Here what is application component? Right. So now we will move on to the actual step. So step number 2B. So what is 2B now? This is nothing but your creation of data source. Now how do you create now same thing? RS7 modeling tab, data source level. In the right frame, what has to be done? You have to select your application component. Which application component I am selecting? Let us say created in. So select the application component. Then what? Context menu. Then create a data source. You can use the existing application component already. Suppose I am not creating this, you can select any other application component. Okay? It's just only for segregation purpose. That's only, nothing else is there. Correct. So now, what is that I said? RS7, modeling tab, data source level, right frame, select your application component, context menu, then create a same thing, modeling tab, data source level, right frame, this is my application component what I have created earlier. So select it, right click on that. What is the option now? Create a data source. So it's asking to give some name, YDS. So how generally data source name will be given? Now YDS underscore, what was your target name? YC underscore CNO, right? So generally for data source also you will give. Why? Because you will understand now this data source is for the particular target. That is a standard convention that we follow. So give some name. Name of the data source, what is that I am giving is. And you can see the source system is already filled. Because I am in that particular interface. Suppose if you are not selected here, you can start selecting from here. The data source here. Now, what data we are extracting? Is it transaction data or master data attributes or text? So now what you have to select there? Master data of type attributes. So under data type, so what has to be done now? Select master data of type. Master data of type what? Attributes, and you can click on continue. After selecting that, what has to be done? Click continue. Okay? Right. So now what you can see, this is your data source technical name, this is the interface name, and this is the version is what now? New. And can you see various tabs are there here? What is the first tab? So nothing to do in the general tab. So in the general tab, you just have to give the description. After continue, what is that now? General tab, right? First one. So general tab, what is that? Give the description. So now, what is the description of your data source you want? Just nothing else to be done here, just you can view. Solid application component is filled. If you want, you can change it also. Okay? Then, what is that now here you can see? Next important tab is extraction tab. So now next move on to, so main settings here you have to do now is the extraction tab. Now in the extraction tab, the first thing what you can see is delta process. What is the option now? So delta process, what it is saying? Delta by full upload. Delta by, it is saying it is always, what I said, when you are extracting data from a file, it is always full upload. Right? When you are extracting some file, what happens? Now let us say, imagine I am getting a file at 9 o'clock. Let us say 9 o'clock I have 100 records. I am extracting data from file 1 to BI. How many records you have to extract now? All the 100. That is what is full update. So 10 o'clock, imagine I am getting some 20 records. Will it come and store in the same file or it's a different file? It's a different file, right? Every 1 hour you will get the data will not get come and store into the same file. Every 1 hour or 1 day, your file get be changed, right? So now, second file I have got, how many records are there in the second file? Only 20 records are there. When you are loading second file, what happens? All the 20 has to be loaded or not? That means, whenever you are extracting data from a file, it is always full update. But suppose if it is R3. Now R3 data is storing in the form of a table. So 9 o'clock, how many records are there in this table? Let us say 100. I am extracting data at 9 o'clock. How many records you are extracting from table? 100. Now let us say between 9 to 10, some 20 records are updating. Where it is going to store? Will it be storing in the same table or a different table? In the same table only. That means 10 o'clock, how many records are there in this table? 120. Now when you are extracting now 10 o'clock, how many records you have to fetch? Only 20 records or not? That is called delta update. If you are extracting data from R3, first time what you do is called initial update. Next time onwards what you are going to perform is called delta update. Okay? Just give me 1 second. Now what is initial and delta update? But when it is extracting from a file, it is always full update. Already we discussed about a concept called initial and delta update. If you are, I think one session you missed, no? It is in that video. You can just see that video. But I think you will understand now, online people, that initial and delta update. Okay, now it is saying now delta process is always by full upload. It is telling that your delta is always now done with what? Now did I specify anywhere I am extracting from file? No, it is taking now setting by default as file. Why? Because can you see now what is the interface? By the connection, by the interface which you are using, the system is understanding that you are extracting from the flat file. That's why. So under delta process, what is that setting now? So delta process is what now? Delta by full upload only. Right. Next setting is what? Direct access, right? So this is important setting now, direct access. So what is the direct access now? You can see now, it is asking what is direct access. You send the direct access DTP. You have an option called what? Direct access DTP. Standard DTP. So now it is asking, basically direct access, what is the setting is, it is asking now what type of DTP that you want. So under direct access, can you see you have two options? What is the first option? No DTP allowed for direct access. What is saying? It is not going to allow a DTP for, that means it is not a direct access DTP. That means what type of DTP is that? It will be a standard DTP. You should select that setting. What setting is you are selecting? No DTP allowed for. So when I say no DTP allowed for direct access means it is nothing but a, it's nothing but what? It's a standard DTP. So that means if you select this setting, no DTP allowed for direct access, and on this data source, what are the DTP you create? That will become what? That will become a standard DTP. And what is the other option now? Allowed. So if you select allowed, what happens? That will be that will be what? A direct access DTP. That will be a direct access DTP. Understand the logic now? So now, right now, is your target is virtual provider or is it holding data physically? What I said, when you are using a virtual provider, then you use direct access. Right now, is my target is virtual provider? No, right now my target is not. That means I require what type of DTP now? Standard DTP. What you have to select there now? No DTP allowed, sir. It depends upon your target from this data source where you are loading now. I am not loading any virtual product. P-table is holding data physically. That means it should be, it should be what? Yes, no DTP allowed for direct access. Now see what is direct access if you want to study. I am placing the cursor there and press F1. Anywhere you stuck, so just place your cursor there and you can click on F1. You will get a document related to. See, this field source, if data source supports direct access to data. And what is telling? A remote provider in BI, that is a virtual provider in BI, can get data only from a data source that supports for direct access. Clear? And what is that? It is only useful to access the data directly if quantity of data to be extracted can be restricted to. Yesterday I said we generally go with virtual providers when you are a report once in a while, and that too your report is restricted to a small amount of data that is inside. So same thing is telling, right? So, but right now, what is that option I want now? A standard DTP. What I am selecting here? No DTP allowed for direct access. That's the maximum case of standard DTP, but when you have a virtual provider, then you go with direct access DTP. Next, we will come across virtual providers, they will understand. It will not hold any data physically. Virtual provider will, yes. Yesterday I said, no? Yes. Next what is that now? Real-time data acquisition is not supported. What is saying? RDA concept is what I said yesterday. If you are extracting from a file, will it support for RDA? What is RDA? Whenever you want frequent extraction, every 5 minutes or every 3 minutes you want to extract the data. Yesterday I said RDA supported only when your source is either SAP R3 or a web-based application. Now right now my source is what? Flat file. Will it support now? See, that is what it is saying. So how it is understanding as it is a flat file? Because you have an interface called s underscore SFF. So now you can see here same option is saying RDA is not supported. Clear? Fine. Then what is the next setting now? Adapter. So in the adapter, what you can see, it is asking of 4 options, right? Load binary file or load text file. Right now, mine is a binary file or a text file. So binary file means data will be in the form of zeros and ones. But right now my data is in the form of C1, C2 or that means right now mine is a text file. And where is this file? Is it in the desktop or in the server? Right now it is on my desktop or server. It's in the local workstation, that is in my machine. But usually real time where will be a file? In the server. So right now I am showing you how to access it from my desktop. Next I will show you next exercise how to access it from the server. So right now, what is that you have to select here? Load text type of file from the local workstation. So right now my file is on the desktop. So what is that now? So under adapter, what has to be selected now? Based upon what type of file and where it is. Then it is asking for, so just like attachment, browse. Right now it is on my desktop. What is that file name? Just, so now, what is that now? So just open your, clear? Right? Fine. So now, just like how you attach some file, same way. So for file name, the name of the file, just browse for your path. Then it's asking for header rows to be ignored. How many header rows to be ignored now? So if you look at your file, what is your first row? Is it a record? So the record starts from the, so if you load like this, what happens? If you load like this, what happens? It considers even this also as one record, right? So now my loading should start from the second row. That means what I'll do, number of header rows to be ignored is how many? 1. First row should be ignored from the file. Then start from the second row. So now what is that now? Name of the file and name of the file, header rows to be ignored. So header rows to be ignored is what? 1. No, header rows means it always starts from the top. So now you want to, so last row will not be the header, always the first row will be the header. Suppose if you want to skip the last row or something, so you will be using something called selections. You have to load data from C1 to C3 or only C1 to C2. That conditions I can give. Right. Then, these are all default settings. Next is data format. So what is your format of your file now? So you can see 2 options there. One is fixed length means ASCII file. Then what is that other one? Separated with separator. Right now what is my file format now? Separated with separator, that is CSV files, right? So now under data format, so what you have to select there? Separated with separator, CSV file. Then it is asking for data separator. What is data separator now? Commas. So under separator what you can do? Comma. Then it is asking escape sign. So what is this escape sign is? Now suppose this is your file. Now what is your address now? Bangalore, right? So now I said separate is what? Field to field separate is. Now that means C1. After C1 what is there? That means it will understand that this is first field data. Then next this is second field data like that. So that means when comma is coming, it's considering as a second field. Suppose, imagine in your file data is like this. So my data is like this. What is that now? Address is what? Jayanagar, comma. That means in the data itself you have a comma. Comma is not a separator in this case. In this case, what is that? Data. Now, if you load like this, what happens? So now, once comma comes, it's jumping. It's separating to the next field. That means in address, what data it will put? Jayanagar. And phone number, what data it will put? But actually, my address data is. So now, if this is the case, now what they will do? If data itself is comma, so after this comma in the file, generally they will use something called escape sign. So let us say what is the escape sign I am using here, imagine. So now, here also, now according to file, escape sign is not here. So in the escape sign, what I will put? Now what happens? That means wherever semicolon is coming, that means it will escape that comma. That means it will not be considered as a separator. So that means, so now data is coming, this is second field, when third field is coming, it is comma, then it is taking for your, that means it is telling escape this particular comma, so then it will go to, so that means until this it will take as data related to one field only. Clear what is data separator? So data separator is to field separator, escape sign is to, whenever you want to escape some particular comma or something, you will be putting some escape signs. Escape sign, yeah, it should be like this, correct. It should be before separator will be coming. Because that comma, it will escape that. Okay? Fine? Escape sign. Okay? So like that, so that is what is your data separator as well as, so generally for a CSV file, they will take the escape sign as semicolon. It may be any other escape sign also. That depends upon your file you have to specify. Clear now what is the escape sign? Clear what are the settings that have to be done in the extraction tab? So basically, what are the settings that you are doing is, first thing is you are specifying what type of DTP you want. Next thing is you are specifying what type of file and where is that file and what is the path of the file. Then the header rows to be ignored, then the format of the file and data separator and the escape sign. Clear the logic? What has to be specified in your extraction tab? So basically you specify your extraction parameters. Okay, data format, then separator, then escape sign. That's it. So these are the things that you have to specify in your extraction tab. So basically what you are specifying there is your extraction parameters. Okay, now clear what is extraction tab? Then just go to, after filling everything in extraction tab, go to proposal tab. Nothing to do in the proposal tab. Just what you can do, you can just click on load example data. You can just click on what? So once I click load example data, system will read the file and proposes you a data source on its own. Once you click load example data, what happens? System will read the file and it will proposes you a data source, how your data has to be extracted from the, see now, click on load example data, what is happening? Just a proposal, the definition is, the data source is defined by system itself. If you are satisfied with the proposal, you can start activating it. So how is the proposal? Observe same thing, number, name, address and phone number, and so if you can observe, I will show it. That next time coming to that only. Yesterday's. No. Yesterday's file is here. This is not type. Yeah. Right. So data source is proposed by the system itself. How is your data source now? Just observe. It has customer number, name, address, and phone number. So now what is the, here it is now, you can see vertical. But what I represented is like horizontal. Now here, what is the length it has taken for your data source? Why it is taken to? Because your file C1, C2, C3, what is the maximum is there? So that means based upon that it is taken length as. That means while extraction, what is the maximum length it is going to extract is now? 2. Next for name also. Name is what? A, B, something there. It's also taken as. So this is also taken as what? 2. For address it is taken as 3. And for phone number it is taken as something called 10. Now, what is the format here? Can you see everything is internal? Internal means proposed by the system. Right now, what is this data source is there? This is now proposed by the. Now, if you are satisfied, as I said, what you can do, you can directly activate your data source. Let us say, but I am not satisfied with the proposal done by the system. Now, what is your requirement? Just observe what is happening here. What is the length it has taken there? Length has taken as 2, right? Now, this file it is okay, C1, C2. So let us say tomorrow I am getting a file. In my second file, what I have, data is C. So C10 is how many bytes? C10, 3 bytes. But your data source length is? That means file extraction, what is going to do? Only C1 it is going to extract. That means there is a mismatch of data that is going to happen. Because right now what are the data sources there is proposed based on the current file what I have given there. So every time I get a different file, so then what should I do now? So I need to change my. So I don't want it to be 2. I have to change it to. To what length should I change? Can I change it to 3? Day after tomorrow, suppose I am getting one more file, let us say which is C100. Then I cannot change it to 3 also. Can I change it to 4? I don't understand to what length should I change it. Now that's why what I will do. Now here, while creating this info object target, what is the length I have given? Suppose I have given as. What I am loading I am saying is, how you are deciding this target length is 10 based upon your source only. Source I have object length with 10, target also I am creating object as. Now can I copy this 10 to my data source? So what you are extracting and what you are loading will become same. Will there be any mismatch now? Clear now how you are going to change the proposal is by taking the assistance of my target. So now, what is that now? See, proposal tab, what you did? So in the proposal tab, so just you have to click on load example data. In the proposal tab, just click on load example data. So then after this you have to go to, what is it? So once you click load example data in the proposal tab, then go to fields tab. So in the fields tab, now can you see now this is your data source and this is the length and what is the format is all internal. So what you will do in the fields tab, right? So what I am going to do is I am going to copy the properties of what? Target info object to the fields of the data source using what? Info object template. Using what I am going to do is. So now, what is there in the here? template info object, right? So here it is asking to give some info object name. What I'll do, I'll be giving the name of my. So if you know the name, you can directly type the name. If you don't know the name, you can start searching here. When I start searching also, what happens? It will be displaying lots and lots of info objects. It's very difficult for me to find out which is my info object. That's why what I'll do, the best way I'm opening one more session. So in another session, what I'll do, we are opening my target. In another session, I'm opening my, what is my target now? So I'm copying it. YC underscore CNO, customer number. Control C is to copy. Then go back here and what is that now? So choose this customer number, press enter. Right now you can see length is 2. So once I press enter, it is asking, do you want to copy the field properties? Just say. So what has been done? It has taken length as 8. And what is the format now? XML. See? So now, can you observe? What is the length I have given for customer number? Lowercase is not allowed. Same way now. What is that next object is? Name. So Control C. Then paste it. Right now length is 2. Just observe what happens. 10. Same way for Control C. Control V. Copy. Then same way for. So now while creating phone number, what is that I have taken as? String only, right? Because I said I have suppose some data plus 91 or something. But see the proposal what it was? It has taken as something called integer 4. But now what happens? It has taken as. So now you have changed your data source now according to your target, so that when you start extracting now, you will not get any mismatch of the data. So what you will be extracting now, what you will be loading will become one on the. So clear now? So now how is data is going to extract now? In this format, number, name, address, and suppose you don't want to extract phone number from the file, what you can do? Select it and delete 0. So that I just got the proposal. Based on the proposal, I am just trying to change my data source. Taken the system from the system, then I have changed it. Then what is fields tab? What you have to do now? In the fields tab, just I have copied the properties of my target properties of the target info object to the properties of the target info object to the fields of the data source using template info object. Right? So then once field tab is done, just go to preview tab. So nothing to do in the preview tab, you can just click on again read preview data. So once I click read preview data, system will read the file. System will read the file and it will show you a preview. What may be the data that may come to my PSA. It will not fetch any data. It just shows you the preview. See now, I am clicking on read preview data. It is asking data source has to be activated. So do you want to activate it now? Yes. What happened? So this is, sorry, I given address multiple times. Phone number, right? What is that we have created as a phone number? Okay. Right. Preview tab. Click on read preview data. It is asking me to activate. Now once we activate that, what is happening now? It will be generating one table called as PSA and a structure called as data source. Front end, sir. See, generation of PSA. So now what is happening in the database? It is going to generate one table called as what? PSA table. Yes, you can skip the proposal tab and you can start defining your own fields. But easiest way is to go to the proposal tab, take the assistance from the system. Now you'll understand how your data source may look. Based upon that, you can start changing it. So if you don't want proposal tab, directly come to fields tab and you can add whatever fields you want also. There is no need to go to proposal tab. Directly you can add the fields tab. You know. So it is showing you now the preview what may be the data that may come to PSA. Still there is no data in PSA. It's just only showing the preview. Suppose if you want to understand now, so now can you see the symbols, the staging symbol is there? Level by symbol. What is that? Mayonnaise. Just observe, is there any data in PSA? Click on that. So there is no data in the PSA table. And what is that you can see? Can you get the PSA table name at the top? It is /BIC/B followed by some random 10-digit number it will take. Actually you can see a 7-digit number. At the end again you have to put 3 more zeros. Totally it will become a. So now I want to see this PSA table. What you can do? Whenever you want to see the table, I am creating one session. What is the T code to see the table, sir? Actually, I am showing you now I have created front-end data source. What has happened in the database backend? So now what is the table name you got? /BIC/B 5 zeros 87 1 2 3 4 5 87. It became 7-digit number and then put 3 more zeros. This is a staging table of a display. Totally a 10-digit number. So now this is what? PSA for so and so particular data source. PSA for what? YDS underscore. Okay. Now what you can see here, how is your PSA now? Is it same as your data source or not? Right? Now if you can see what is the length here. Suppose if you have not used the template info object, what would have been length here? 2. But I have used template info object, now it has become. Now one table. So first from the file, first where will be the data coming into BIS? In this particular table. Right now this table is empty. See, contents. Right now there is no data in this table. Just check now. Clear now what is PSA? So now can you see what is that now? This is your data source. So first data from the file, first where it will be coming now? To the data source. Front-end I am saying data source, but database is nothing but your PSA table. So from here, where should I send my data now? So between that, I need to make some link. That is nothing but your transformations. So that's right. So that will be continuing in our next class. So next class I will finish the other 3 steps and we will see the error handling also. So that will finish your second exercise. So this is the important exercise. If you know this part, next all part is almost looks similar. What is the difference is your target will change, your source will change, like that. Okay? Right. Any doubts are there? Online people? Yes. So anything. So first you can create your data source, then you can start creating the target also. That is also possible. Yes. It's not mandatory like you have to go this. But usually first I will come to target because while creating the data source I was taking the assistance of my target. So that's why first we will define a target. Then we'll start creating the data source. That is also possible, right? So what on the day I shown, no, what I'm extracting may not be equal to what I'm loading. Yeah, that's it. So on the day I shown, suppose I don't have any address data in the file. My data source is only customer number, name and phone number. But while loading, I want extra info object called address. Your target has now 4 info objects. Right. Yes. Srinivas? No, it's a slash BIC slash B same. Some 10-digit random number it will take. Now for this data source, this table name will be always same. If you are creating another data source, then it will be a different name. No, we cannot define any report on PSA. PSA we cannot define any report. It's not possible to create a report on PSA table. Staging purpose, that's it. And time by time you clean this table. Nothing else, only staging purpose. Yeah, fine. Yeah, Vinay? Yeah, fine. So we'll meet again on Monday. Fine. Yes. Yeah, fine. Yeah, thank you. Same to you.